I mean, I'm sure we all know digital exclusion is not an issue that uniquely affects a particular demographic. It's a very intersectional issue, and what we're seeing in particularly areas of lots of people on low income is that data poverty is really real, particularly during the pandemic, and particularly for young people, which I personally find quite surprising. So we saw lots of young people who basically lost access to digital services because they lost the ability to use free public Wi-Fi during lockdown, which was their ability to use online and access things. So we know, for example, that I think it's something like 40%, you're 40% more likely to be able to carry out basic digital tasks if you're from a high income household compared to a low income household. But that is not exclusively linked to skills, of course. That's access, that's hardware, that's data, and so on. I think just to sort of bring in what I see as a really big opportunity when it comes to content and digital exclusion. I mean, what I think is fantastic, and this is why I get passionate about technology, is that the technology exists to be able to provide content to people in a highly personalized way that is not just about a website. And I think this whole myth that we've dispelled over the last 10 or so years about, digital by default used to be the thing that the government digital service and others would talk about. But, that really left a bad taste, I think, in many people's mouths, particularly those who are digitally excluded, because it had this sense of sort of the website as like the prime channel, and everything else was there to sort of mop up the rest. And this idea of assisted digital was basically helping people to use the website, which I think in hindsight, like, we've just matured way past that. But the opportunity we have now is, I think, with content is more in the behind the scenes. What I mean by that, I'll give an example, is one of the things I love about my job is that my remit now includes contact center technology, so the tech that supports phones, chat, WhatsApp messaging, that kind of thing. And what we can do with that technology is plug it into things like knowledge management systems, so that when you're speaking to an advisor or volunteer, that advisor and volunteer are able to be supported by the tech, which will effectively kind of listen to keywords and so on, surface more tailored information to that advisor, which is then presented to the person. And what I love about that is that in that example, if the person's on the phone, you would typically in the past have called them digitally excluded, but actually they're able to get access to the same content through that phone call or that web chat interaction, or email. We have a lot of advice giving over email these days, that is supported and made better by advice content and that kind of personalization offer. So it really starts to sort of break down and blur the barriers, which is what I think tech is fantastic to be able to do, but it's done in a way that is non-obvious and is not just about the website. And that's where you start to get into kind of needs around advice content sort of culturally being decoupled from the concept of a website. And it's not just about things that are on the web, it's about other ways that we get content to people and meet them where they are.